to reflect we are back in session. Parties and council are present, all members of our jury and our alternates are present, and I believe the people are ready to call their next witness via some kind of electronic communication.
FaceTime.
Okay?
Oh.
Skype didn't work from Grace.
Okay, if you're ready to proceed, go ahead.
Here we go.
You want to announce it?
Oh, I'm sorry, that people call Tracey Russell.
Ma'am, please raise your right hand to be sworn. I'll just go down.
Oh, it's raised. No, it's
She's got it.
It's raised.
Do you solemnly state the evidence you'll give in this matter is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
I have them.
Please state and spell your full name for the record.
Tracey Ann Russell, R-A-C-Y-A-N-N-R-U-S-S-E-L-L.
Was that 2 L's?
Was that 2 L's at the end, Tracey?
Yes.
Okay, you may proceed.
Ms. Russell, what is your relationship to the victims in this case?
My sister, my brother-in-law, and my kids.
And who's your sister?
Yes.
Summer?
Summer is my sister. Joey's my brother-in-law. Gianni and Joseph are my nephews.
And what is the age difference between you and Summer?
3 years.
Did the two of you grow up together?
We sure did.
Where did you grow up?
We grew up in California, Chicago, and back in California.
And what was your relationship with your...
San Gabriel Valley.
Okay, what was your...
I didn't hear that.
I think she said San Gabriel Valley.
Thank you.
What was your relationship
Yes.
with your sister like growing up?
She was my big sister. It was like big sister. Sometimes perfect and sometimes sisterly.
So sometimes you would have arguments.
Absolutely.
Did the two of you always remain close?
Yes.
Describe the type of big sister that Summer was.
Oh. Pardon my emotions. Summer was the type of sister that always expected and wanted the best out of all of us, my brother and myself. Bossy and tenacious.
And I should clarify for the record that you're testifying via iPhone right now because you are currently out of the country. Is that right?
Yes.
Was that a pre-planned vacation that you had?
It was. I expected the testimony to end the end of April, and we had a family trip planned for the beginning of June, so unfortunately I wasn't able to be there.
Now, what types of things did you and your sister do together when you were growing up?
Everything. We played dolls, we played sisterly advice. She was the first one to know all of our growing up memories, secrets, sisterly stuff.
Were you around when Summer met Joseph McStay?
Yes.
Did she talk to you about him?
Yes, she did.
What did she tell you about him? How did she describe him?
She adored him, and she finally met somebody that she could start a family with.
Besides her just using those words and talking to you about him, did you see any sort of reaction that she would have when she talked about him?
Absolutely, admiration.
And do you remember the first time that you met Joseph McStay?
Yes, we all went out to lunch during San Clemente.
And was that the first time that Summer had introduced you to him?
Yes,
And how did that lunch go?
it was fabulous. He was wonderful, jovial, kind, funny. We hit it off pretty quickly.
Describe, since you were at that lunch, did you have an opportunity to observe the two of them, being Summer and Joseph, interact with each other?
Absolutely. New love, admiration, silly, touchy-feely. New love, the best love.
Now, when they began establishing their relationship, did you also form a relationship with Joseph?
Yes, I did.
And did the two of you also become close?
We did.
And could you describe for us your relationship with Joseph?
Well, Summer was always very strict and different. Joey and I tend to be silly. We would get in trouble, but together. He was fun, free-spirited, always laughing, always joking.
Now, when you say that the two of you would get in trouble together, what do you mean?
Well, silly. Joseph and I smoked cigarettes. Summer was anti-everything. She was, we would get in trouble. We would sneak.
So you get in trouble from Summer?
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you remember when Summer got pregnant?
I do.
Do you remember her telling you that she was pregnant?
She actually told me we were online on the computer, and I had planned a trip out of the country. I was in Japan, and she sent me a bunch of books because she decided that we were going to have to make a home in water.
What did you
So
think?
I was going to be her doula.
What did you think about the fact that she was going to do a home birth?
I thought it was fascinating. I was terrified because I was now going to have to do it with her. So it was me and a midwife and her at home in water with Joey.
And were you there when she had her first baby?
I was.
Can you describe that experience?
One of the most beautiful experiences in my life. We walked all around Old Town, San Clemente, had lunch. I spent a week out there, I think it was, and we had the midwife come out. We did a whole beautiful walk for home births.
And so, what was the name of the first baby that she had?
She dubbed him Baby G, as it was Gianni.
Any particular reason that she chose that name that you're aware of?
She just loved the name, I don't know.
Okay. And did you have an opportunity to see her interact with Gianni as a mother?
Absolutely.
Can you describe how
Yeah,
that
I came out
was?
in the beginning. Frequently in the beginning came out. I lived in Pasadena and they lived in San Clemente, and she was nursing, and it was exhausting, and it was a 24-hour thing. So I came up quite frequently when she first had baby. The first 3 months I was up there a lot, and she was amazing. It was one of the happiest days of her life, becoming a mom.
And did you also have an opportunity to see Joseph react with the baby or interact with the baby?
Yeah.
And how?
Absolutely. Pure joy, love. We did a whole, he was a photographer on the side. He had a bunch of photography equipment. So we did a pregnancy shoot, and then when she had him, we went down to the beach again, and I did a whole shoot with the three of them, and Jonah does, and it was beautiful.
And do you remember when she got pregnant with her second child?
I do.
And can you describe how you found out about that?
She sent me an email, let me know that she was having quite thrilled for her. I had newly become involved in my relationship that I'm now married. But I was newly in my own relationships. I was traveling a lot and hanging out with my husband at the time. But yeah, I was thrilled for her. And as bossy big sister goes, she wanted my brother to be a part of the second home water birth. So she invited my brother out to be a part of that.
Okay, and so after she had the second baby, did you have an opportunity to see her observe, or did you have an opportunity to observe her interact with both of her children?
Absolutely.
And can you describe how Summer handled all of that?
Elated. That's what she wanted to do, is be a mom, a wife, and they were living a beautiful life together.
Now, do you recall when Summer and Joseph bought the house in Fallbrook?
I do recall that was in November 2009.
And prior to that, they were living in San Clemente, is that right?
Yes, correct.
And what types of things did they like to do together as a family?
They were always together. Joey worked out of the house, so they were always, they did everything together. Parks, taking bikes, crafting. It was, he worked a lot from home, so it was majority of summer, but it was definitely, they were always together, inseparable.
Did Summer work outside of the home at all during that time period?
Not after she did this, no.
So she was a stay-at-home mom?
Starting to get back into mortgage.
I can't understand that.
Can you repeat what you just said?
I said she was actually just starting to get back into the mortgage field when the boys were just before the incident happened.
You cut out, what type of field did she work in prior to having the boys?
She did mortgage, real estate.
Okay. And so after they bought the house, do you remember talking to Summer, or did you have conversations with Summer about things that she was looking forward to?
Yes, remodeling her home. They were going to, that was basically an investment property. They were going to be there for a few years, and she was hoping to get back to the beach. Unfortunately, fortunately for me, I was pregnant with my son, and I went into premature labor, so there was a moment of disconnect where, of course, as she sent me a bunch of books because my son was premature. So I had him in October of that year, and I spent through December in the hospital with him, so we didn't get to talk a lot those last few months.
Was that October and December of October through December of 2009?
Yes, correct.
Okay, and so at some point in February of 2010, did you find out that Summer was missing?
Actually, we talked a couple times, and when I came home in January, and then I got busy, my baby came home on plugs, and she was busy remodeling their new house and dealing with her toddlers, and then we spoke again the morning of February 4th, and she was finally going to be able to come out and see my son because her babies weren't immunized, and Tanner had to have all his RFD shots before the boys could come over. So she didn't see well, and that morning she told me that she was going to come out and slumber for a few days with the boys, meet next son, and hang out. And I assumed she got busy with the remodel, and I got busy with preemie, and that was the last morning I spoke to her.
So you actually had talked to her on the morning of February 4th of 2010?
Correct.
And you had made plans for her to come and see you, is that right?
Correct.
And had she met your son prior to that point?
Unfortunately not. The boys weren't immunized. Some are somewhat of a cornflake, and my son was premature, and
So when you say that Summer is somewhat of a cornflake, can you describe what you mean by that?
Absolutely. Homeopathic medicine. She didn't immunize boys. She went by her own teachings, and she was. She had her own way of life. She walked with a purpose and a passion.
So you had made plans and she was supposed to come out and then you just didn't hear from her, is that right?
Yeah, she was going to come out the following week to meet my son and spend the night with the boys for a couple of nights. And I assumed she got busy remodeling, and I had a new preemie at home, so it was like 2 weeks later, and San Diego PD had called and asked to speak to my brother, actually. And Kenneth had already lived in Hawaii for some time, so I said if they were looking for Kenneth, then it might have been a mistaken identity, or maybe somebody got a hold of one of his identifications. And she said, "Oh, you're Summer's sister." And I said, "Yes." And she said, "Let me connect you to homicide." And that's when I learned that they were missing.
When you had somebody call you and tell you, "Let me connect you to homicide."
I'm sorry?
Okay, I said when you had somebody call you and tell you, "Let me connect you to homicide," how did you feel at that time?
Terrified.
Can you say that again? I'm sorry, you broke up a little bit.
Devastated, terrified,
And
shocked.
did they connect you with somebody in homicide at that point?
Yeah, then I was connected to homicide, and I believe it was later that evening, Detective Dugal and Fisk were going to meet me at my house, and I had to go get my mom up and daycare.
So you, had anybody in your family been contacted prior to that phone call notifying you about Summer being missing?
No.
Did you have to contact other family members after you received that phone call?
My mom.
How was
I
that phone?
contacted my mom and my brother.
And how was that phone call when you had to call your mom?
I opted not to call her. We drove together. I didn't think she'd be able to handle the phone call.
So you drove to get her, is that what you said?
Yeah, I drove to get her because they said they would be at my home later that evening.
And so when you met with your mom that day and you had to tell her, can you describe that to us, the impact?
Actually, it was quite scary because my husband and I drove up, and she's been yelling at my husband that what was wrong, what was wrong. Basically, we told her that she had to come down with us, that Sandy had to go back to be at the house that evening. I pretty much lost my mom in this tragedy, too. You know what I'm saying?
How did you lose your mom?
She just hasn't been able to gather all the pieces. The loss has just been too much for her.
What have you seen in terms of the effects that this has had on your mom?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you, Melissa.
Sure. What have you seen in terms of the effects that this has had on your mom?
She's definitely not the same person. She's lost all her strength. She tries, but she's just not the same. She cries constantly.
Have you seen a change in her mentally at all?
Absolutely. I think it was her ticket to go crazy. And in all honesty, if I married and never have a son, I might have bought the same ticket, but she still talks to them. She wants him to be there. It's her, I guess it's her coping mechanism, if you will.
When you first found out that Summer was missing, after you notified your mom, there was a long period of time that went by until the bodies were discovered. Can you describe for us what the impact was on your family during that 3 years and 9 months?
It was horrible. The wondering, wanting, and the yearning. It gets worse and worse every year. It doesn't get any better. I always knew that it wasn't going to turn out right, unfortunately. If Summer wasn't in contact with me, she was in contact with my mom. If she was in contact with my mom, she was in contact with me and my brother. It was like, and she never just disappeared. She expected us to know and be around the boys and know, so she was always in touch with one of us.
At some point, were you notified that the bodies had been recovered?
I'm sorry?
At some point, were you notified that the bodies had been recovered?
I was.
How were you notified about that?
I had actually gone to get my hair done that day, and my husband, who never bugs me at the hair salon, kept calling me, and I didn't put two and two together, but I had driven over to him at my in-laws, and he was already walking out of the house, and he looked distraught, so I basically knew something had gone on, and he said that the detectives were going to meet us up at our house. We left our son at my in-laws, and we went up to my house. All the detectives were there. I just remember gasping, looking at Gaffney, asking him if he was sure. I just kind of pictured her eyes. He had said they had found 4 of them.
Can you describe the impact or how you felt when he confirmed for you that they had found all 4 of them?
It's the worst day of my life. But never again.
Tracey, you cut out. I'm sorry. If you can repeat that.
It was horrible. It was absolutely horrible.
Did you have to notify anybody after the detectives had confirmed that it was Summer and the boys and Joseph?
I did. I had to notify my brother and my mother.
And can you tell us what that was like, the impact that that had on you and your mother and your brother?
Well, it was horrible because my brother was all the way in Hawaii, and the last phone call I would ever want to make to him, and it was devastating. I had to drive up around and tell my mother that our 4 babies were gone forever.
Were you given information about how the family was murdered?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Were you given information about how the family was murdered?
At the time, no. I was just advised that they had found them.
And later, were you provided that information?
Eventually, yes, at the following morning, I believe we had a news conference. And just before the news conference, they had come in a conference room and let us know that they had been bludgeoned. And in the desert.
Was your mom with you when you were given that information?
Yes.
Can you describe the impact on you and your mom upon learning that information?
I don't think there's any way to explain that devastation.
How has your life changed since your sister...
Please.
I missed the last part of what you said, Tracey. If you could repeat that. I think you said grief.
Absolutely.
How has your life changed since your sister was murdered?
Drastically. It doesn't ever get easier. It's like every day I yearn to share something with her, for her to see my son, for the boys to play together, to have a more laugh with my brother-in-law, one secret with my sister. It's horrible.
Are there times that are more difficult for you than others?
Oh, it's always difficult. I don't think it ever gets easier.
Do you remember the last time that you... I'm sorry, Tracey, I didn't hear the last part.
I'm sorry, I have a lump in my throat. I can't talk. I'm sorry.
It's okay. Do you remember the last time you saw your sister?
It had to be the year before that.
What's the last image that you have of your sister?
The last time we spoke, my sister, and the last time we had spoke was telling me that I couldn't work anymore now that I had a baby, so she had a whole new career figured out for me, and she was going to do the marketing, and I was just going to do the work, like, just big sisterly advice, hurry up and have another baby.
Was that something that you guys had talked about in terms of raising your kids or the cousins with each other?
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
how is the fact that the boys, both Gianni and Joseph Jr., are not here, how does that impact your family as well?
Well, I have a 9-year-old. My brother has 3 beautiful children. It's like they should all be growing up and playing and running around and getting cousins together. It's horrible.
I want to show you what's been marked as 1160 Tracey 2. Can you see that picture?
Yes.
Can you put it up
I
on
can't, the bottom of it, I just see Summer's face.
Okay, I'm gonna just try and move you here a little bit.
No, can I have
Can
attorney?
you see that?
Deputy Jackson.
Yes,
And do you recognize that?
yes.
And can you tell us anything about that particular picture that you just observed?
Summer and baby Jade?
And they're at the beach. Is that an activity that they enjoyed together as a family?
Daily. They were daily at the beach. They went to breakfast down there. They have a little beachfront where they went every morning and got their oatmeal and did their little walks. They went and played at the park right there in San Clemente. So it was a daily venture for them.
Now I'm going to show you another one that's 1160 Tracey 5. I'm going to tip you up so you can see it. Do you recognize that?
Oh, yes.
What's that a picture of?
That's me and Summer at a wedding down at the beach. We were hanging out down at the beach for the weekend. I had gotten a hotel room at the Capri Laguna, and her friend came and stayed with me, and one of my friends was getting married, and then her and I spent the weekend together down there.
What do you miss most about your sister?
Oh, every little thing, just talking to her, her advice, her thought process about things. Having a sister, I had her for 40 years, and then she was robbed from me.
I don't have any further questions.
Anything on cross?
No, you're right.
Any objections to Ms. Russell being excused?
No.
No.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Russell, for your appearance via FaceTime, and you are excused at this time.
Thank you, Tracey.
Thank you.
Any additional evidence by people?
No, you're on the people rest.
Any additional evidence by the defense?
No, you're on.
Both sides rest, subject to the introduction of exhibits?
Yes.
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen,